Lovely. You look great today.
And you do too, actually. You look really great today.
Oh my goodness, and you look really, really excellent, actually.
Oh my gosh.
It is 1, so they belong to us now.
Yes. Can you guys hear the music? Is it? All right, perfect. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you've had an incredible MAGFest.
Have you had a good MAGFest? Have you had a great MAGFest?
Well, hopefully we can make it nice and cozy for you. We know how Saturday night of MAGFest can be, and we're going to try to speak softly. I can't do anything about the lights, but we can make sure it's not too loud for you. And if you're an individual for whom that does not pertain, you really are God's favorite princess. That could not be me.
I first want to make sure that we give a hand to our MAG staff members. It is Sunday. They are days deep into working their absolute butts off to make sure we all have a good time. We owe them so much. V, thank you so much. Impossible without all of y'all.
So, that being said, we are not God's favorite princesses.
Not even a little
but
bit.
We can tell you who we are. Hello, everybody. I'm Rinny. I go by Idol Rinny online, Idol Princess Rinny sometimes. I think I was born with the concept of being obsessed with magical girls. Like, I genuinely grew up like with witches, you know, like cute hex stuff, like cottagecore, whatever, has always been in my blood. It's also directly fighting with my love for survival horror. You know, that's just how the two wolves be. I see a couple of people here who are repeats from our Silent Hill panel. Thank you so much for coming to that last year. This is going to be the complete opposite. We will not traumatize you this time.
A very different panel, and unfortunately, no Dunkin' Donuts discussion. That's why Starbucks.
Like, there can be if you want there
today.
to be.
Well, after.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I go by Raven Online. I am a streamer. As you can see, I'm a filthy VTuber. Hey, so many real ones out of the gate.
Face reveal.
Face reveal, face reveal, face reveal. I would love to feel cozy one day. This is an informative panel for me too. Maybe relaxation can occur. I have an academic history in media criticism, and putting it towards Atelier, I think we'll address this. Putting it towards Atelier sounds lovely today.
So, with that introduction in mind, we wanted to get into what you can expect of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to go through, cozy games as a concept, why maybe you should try it out, especially if you're an individual who needs to chill. We want to talk about the gameplay elements of the series, what about these games and what they do, and how fun they can be. What happened?
Spotify didn't like that very much.
No, it hates Atelier.
All right, don't spy on my Spotify library. It's a lot of metal. It messes this up fast.
Okay. We're going to talk about how many games there are. This is a really long-running franchise, and not a lot of people know this.
Yeah.
And because of that section will be a little bit smaller. And then we're going to talk to you about if you want to get started on playing, if there's any localized games you want to try out, where you can give this game a shot if you're interested in it. Quick question.
For the sake of those of us with auditory processing issues, can you cut the volume on the music about half?
No problem. How about that?
That's better.
All right. Yay, thank you. So let's start with talking about cozy games and why you should try to play them.
So, let's talk about what cozy games are, yeah? These, and I think probably our most agreeable definition of them, are games that chill you out but also drive you a little bit mad. You are going to know what I mean when we pull some of our examples. They are often aesthetically pleasing. They are often very soft, usually have very calm music, and very, very focused, simple objective, simple mechanic, executed very, very cleanly and repeatedly. Unpacking's a lovely example of it. A little to the left, if you haven't tried it, very problematic cat in that game, gets in my way a lot. Everybody loves Stardew Valley, and I think we all had an Animal Crossing moment. The thing is, we like to believe that cozy games extend to a little bit more than just that. In our opinion, at the very least, there is one
that just eats your brain.
That drove us a little mad for a bit. I haven't left my Suica game moment. If you have, more power to you.
But we also wanted to talk about, like, how can you define cozy, right? Like, that's kind of difficult to really put into words to someone.
This is an aesthetic, but I mean, Unpacking and Stardew Valley are vastly different genres of game, much as we would all acknowledge they're coming from the same general objective, yeah? What makes you feel cozy is not necessarily what is inherently soft or pink or quiet or something. Those are lovely traits for a game to have. We blow it out to something that is a cozy game, is something that can help you enter a relaxed flow state, a place of peace or meditation maybe. So your version of a cozy game could be Coffee Talk, a game with gorgeous pixel art, very, very nice dialogue, focused mechanics, or your idea of a cozy game could be an extremely tense, extremely lethal, tactical alien fighting game set in the it's too late already dystopia.
Or you could be worse, and you could have my cozy game, which for some strange reason is Resident Evil 2.
Okay. But original or OG?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
I have Aid and Bede and Leon and Claire up and down that game.
The thing is, this is also not bad for you. The thing is, we choose to enter game worlds. Even if it's just Madden, you're trying to be immersed in a moment. You're trying to take in the experience and let you leave yourself and enter a little bit of it. When we go into works of fiction, they leave marks on what we think, they leave marks on what we feel, and they leave marks on what we walk away with and move on in life. So if it is cathartic for us to cry over things, and we're Final Fantasy X fans, so we've cried more than a little bit. If it is joyous to laugh at games, and I'm a Monkey Island fan, so I've laughed at some games, it is obviously healing to go into a soft place with a cozy game. In the Games for Health Journal, they actually dug into this a little bit. There were studies on helping people treat, and we'll say that in quotation marks, anxiety with a regular regimen of cozy video games. They found across the board marked improvements in the actual things that people were feeling when they were grappling with symptoms of anxiety. As someone who does myself, this is pretty close to my heart, and I will tell you, Stardew Valley and Into the Breach have pulled me through a few tricky days.
That all being said, we're here to pitch you on what your next cozy game should be. So let's talk about the Atelier series, shall we?
Atelier.
So the Atelier series was a series very long running since 1996, developed and put together by the company Gust, also led by Shinichi Yoshike. He was inspired by shoujo manga, inspired by Anne of Green Gables, and Atelier has an incredible focus on fantasy novels and also his inspiration from alchemy class in university. I don't know which university does that, but that's like the coolest sounding like college I've ever heard of. Atelier. Yeah.
How do you name of the panel? How do you pronounce it? Atelier?
So Atelier is one of the first series to actually involve crafting in a lot of video games. Because it was so long running, crafting as a concept was kind of, sort of building, but it's one of the first series in gaming to actually have that be a core, integral mechanic to its franchise. And this was really ahead of its time because even then, and especially even now, a lot of these games, that we play is a lot focused on like more violence, more combat, and that can be really fun, but sometimes, you want to just chill out a little bit. One of my favorite things about the series is how the art direction was helmed by a young woman named Kohime Osa. She was inspired by Alphonse Mucha art and beautiful like Art Nouveau, and a lot of her art style really, really inspires and takes from that to put into the Atelier series. So some of these are my favorite drawings in the entire franchise. I'm
so wild about 90s anime aesthetics. When we start pulling art for this slide was heaven.
So with Atelier, it's so nice to like see.
Yeah. So it's Atelier.
What?
Atelier. So it's Atelier. Atelier.
What are you asking me right now?
Atelier. How do you pronounce Atelier?
Okay, guys, so here's the problem. So it's a French word, right? It's a French word. It's supposed to be atelier, and it means like workshop,
I
right?
like that.
Every single dub of these games has changed how it's pronounced every time. It is Atelier, the proper French pronunciation. It is Atelier. It is Atelier, and for some reason, at one point, and I can't get behind that one, I just can't. So the answer to the title of the panel is whatever you feel like it, I guess.
Can you tell me thus? How do you say Atelier?
How do I say it?
Yeah.
I say Atelier. Yeah.
Not bad. I'm going to say Atelier from here on out.
Ooh, fancy. So, like we said, it is a very long-running series. It has been coming out on a near yearly basis. It's kind of nuts to have a game franchise do that. It focuses on adorable girls, as you've seen. It has wonderful little slice-of-life adventures. Again, very satisfying crafting mechanics, which we'll get into. And it's very fluffy. It's very, cozy, very wholesome. And to be honest with you, I'm trying not to be biased about it, but most of these games, if not all of them, are bangers. It's really hard to see a game series go on for this long, have this many installments, and all of them be pretty good.
And ones that go on this long usually have a much higher market share than Atelier does, and rarely, if ever, do they have a hit rate quite anywhere near this good. Did any of y'all pick up Rogue?
Oh, two people, see?
Okay, but if this wasn't MAGFest, no one would have raised their hand. We all know how Unity...
Yeah, but...
So, for years I was looking for Atelier Aisha and Esha Magi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the store, I have to go through a million
of Assassin's Creed. That's
Yes,
exactly
yes,
what we're
18,
talking
18.
about.
Yep,
so,
I totally get you.
and so many game series don't have as good a hit rate. I know there's weird discourse on Pokemon, right?
We're not gonna
get into that, but what's going on there? And then the other thing that we pulled up that we realized has not as many, but nearly as many installments as the Atelier is Call of Duty.
Listen. I liked Black Ops 6 a lot. Did y'all like Modern Warfare 3?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I didn't show up for Vanguard.
So it's so nuts to us that so many people don't play these games and haven't really heard of them, and that's why we're here today.
I will note Yakuza similar release and hit rate. So
Yes.
very similar hit rate. My goodness.
So as we mentioned, the series takes a lot of inspiration from magical girls, things like Sally the Witch, Creamy Mommy, good old-fashioned 80s, 90s magical girl, maybe even 70s to 60s, depending on some of the characters. It features female protagonists for the most part, and it is actually a series that has a female demographic, which is really, really exciting for me personally. A lot of the stories, just like those magical girl stories, focus on interpersonal issues. It focuses on smaller scales. It's a lot of wholesome, sweet moments. It's a lot of hey man, my cat isn't feeling very well, so you go on a whole journey to get a potion bottled for this little kitty cat. It's something that's very, very nice about this series is how it has this fun little tagline of we're done saving the world, we're just gonna relax. And it's something that I really, really love about this. That being said, for a lot of people, what they care about in games is gameplay and how you play games. So we wanted to go through a little bit of the gameplay loop to try to show you what you can expect from trying on one of these games. The first branch of it is the story. Like I mentioned, really a slice of life. You play the main character who's a wonderful little alchemist. They run a shop or they run a little workshop, your atelier. And from there, different zany scenarios can happen. It can only be resolved through the power of your alchemy, through the power of your magic.
I actually wanted to ask because I'm a big Persona fan, especially 3, 4, and 5. And what I always say is that 3 is sort of the most focused on story, 4 on characters, 5 a bit of both. Where would you say broadly, I know there's a lot, where would you say Atelier tends to balance around those?
Honestly, kind of all 3.
Interesting.
There are sections of each game where you'll like just be hitting story beat after story beat after story beat, and then there are other parts where you're just gonna zone out and go out in the woods. It's really, really nice, but remember, it is a much smaller scale. It's much, you're not gonna be fighting Satan like at the end of a lot of these games, or using Satan like at the end of P5. But
we need Satan to shoot a big gun.
But you will be taking requests from your townspeople. You will be seeing NPCs, and some of these requests are required for you to progress the game. When you do that, you get to go out and explore. You travel the world. You meet different characters. You gather items, and you bring all of those wonderful items back to your atelier. You craft the items that people maybe request, or maybe you ran into like a giant boulder, and for some reason the main character decides the only way to get rid of this giant boulder is to make a bomb.
They go to bomb really fast.
They go to bomb so fast. And from there, you'll be able to create more and more items, more and more equipment, and then keep going in that wonderful little loop. So let's get into a little bit of the details of that. So we're actually going to start with requests first as one of the pillars. Again, characters will come in and they'll talk to you and they'll be like, please make this for me. They'll give you parameters on if the quality of the item should be a certain level. They'll give you parameters on how many of the items they want. And then from there, you go out and you pick up these things and give it to them. Some of the games do feature deadlines. Some of them are pretty harsh, and other ones are loosey-goosey, no time exists at all. So if you're the kind of person who works better on a deadline, we'll get into which of those games are good for that. If you're the kind of person who will cry if somebody tells you to do things on time, there are other games for that as well. And those, like I said, will allow you to explore more quests, to explore new lands. If like a town's guard is like, we need to get rid of this dragon, then you can explore in other places after you get rid of this dragon. From there, like I said, you go to explore. And there are so many fun little things that you can do. A lot of these games have really great little mechanics where you're just running around, you'll gather some items off the ground, like very traditional, like you just pick some leaves, you pick some herbs, or you can chop down some trees, you can get some giant hammer and destroy things.
The hammer is the size of her.
It's bigger than her. It's so fun to see how much you would destroy things in this. But simultaneously, for those of you who want something a little bit more robust, a little bit deeper, there's also really great turn-based combat in these games. They have very detailed enemies with different kinds of weakness types. So you can, if somebody's weak to ice, you can go make an ice potion and chuck it at their head. If you have these kinds of need for violence, there is options for you in these series.
I need to ask, as someone who does have a very healthy love and respect for, as you have noted, the feminine urge for violence.
Yes.
Do you feel that being the person who creates the last megalixir means that you actually use the last megalixir?
Yes.
Or do you still just leave
Yes,
it and
because
never
you
use
can
it?
make multiple, and you can go, wow, this is not that bad. I don't know why people don't use our potions.
I don't know why I don't use that last megalixir.
That's the thing.
Maybe there will be a super boss.
So, like I said, after all that, you bring your potions and your items and your things back to your atelier. It is synthesis time, buddy. You're going to create things. You're going to have a giant cauldron where you're going to shove all this stuff inside of. And for some reason, you're going to put herbs and you're going to put fur, and then you're going to put a dragon piece in there, and you're going to get a picnic basket. It's just how it is. There's a great moment in the games where they go how did you do that? And the main character is I don't know what you're talking about. This is just what alchemy is.
Wasn't that one with a wicker basket that came out of a cauldron? I want to say there is something beautifully ominous to this gorgeous girl with the note that she's crafting fuel in the top left of the screen.
Well, what I also love is there's a picture of Ryza crafting Bowie knives. Like, sometimes it's just what you gotta do. Sometimes the girls just gotta have some sharp items.
Rise is ready for Counter-Strike.
I am. And it's really, really fun to see how these things can escalate and how these things can, like, you know, like we mentioned before, can be super, super cute and funny, or you can craft giant bombs and Bowie knives. You know, your mileage may vary. But the stories, right? That's something that really, really matters. These stories are developed beautifully thanks to these game mechanics. When you get to meet these characters, when they show up at your shop and they ask you for help and they join your party when you go out in the woods, you get to have really lovely little like social link moments with them. You get to know them, you enjoy their presence, you learn more about them, you learn more about their lives. There isn't like romantic social links in them, but you can definitely have romantic feelings like seen through certain characters. There's a lot of romance in the traditional sense, the literal sense, and it's really, really nice to see how some of these characters grow into family with each other because you run a beautiful little shop together.
It's lovely that the core structure is fundamentally about seeing people who are in need and fulfilling their needs or making them happy. That ultimately the spine of these games is going around and helping your community be just a little bit better along the way.
So again, this is the gameplay loop that you should expect in a lot of these Atelier games. You start off the game with, you know, getting a decent premise, you get your requests, you go out into the woods, and you come back and you put all those pieces together to then create that beautiful little loop. And because of that, it can be very methodical, it can be very flow state. Sometimes I will just be out for an hour, just picking up leaves, and that's all I'm doing all day, and it's very, very nice. That being said, we talked a lot about how these games work, and we talked a lot about how these games, you know, can make you feel, but we haven't talked about the games themselves. And there's a lot of them.
we are not going to be able to cover every single one of these in any degree of the depth that they do truly deserve. And so I believe you've bundled them up according to the structure of them,
Yes.
right?
So a lot of the Atelier series comes out in trilogy sets. Sometimes it's a duology. You know, it's you can tell by the title of the games what place they belong to. So you have Atelier Marie, Atelier Ellie, and Atelier Lily, which are the first 3 games in the series. These games are kind of the bedrock of where all of this came from. You have those beautiful Art Nouveau styles. You have the beautiful little cottage core. And also, this is where the concept of simply, you're going to school, you know, you're learning, you're going to be an alchemist. Marie is one of my favorite characters ever, and she's in an absolute mess. And her whole thing is going like, no, please give me a degree. Please give me a degree in magic. I'm begging you.
I'm gonna sound yeah. I'm gonna sound like a boomer for just a second. I do think there's lovely work happening in cover art nowadays, but I envision putting the Atelier Marie that cover on my shelf, and it blows me away. It's gorgeous.
We have the next set from that, and it's from Garmond.
Grammond.
I know, it's so hard to pronounce. Atelier Judy and Atelier Violet. They come in a duology, like I mentioned. And Judy is kind of lost in time. She's stuck 200 years in the future because she messed up on one of her, recipes, and she's trying to get back home. And Violet is trying to prove herself to her parents and show them that she doesn't need to be like a coddled girl. She can be a little bit more than what they think she is. It's really, really sweet. Also, if you are interested in playing some of the starting to localized games, you have the Atelier Iris series. Atelier Iris 1, 2, and 3 were the first games to be localized in different languages, at least in America. Over in Europe, they have way better localization for these games. I'm very jealous of the Italians.
This is a very strong Italian fandom. We found they are very hardcore about this.
It's very nice. And Atelier Iris starts with a male protagonist, actually, and he gets to meet different characters in the first game and then build that atelier. In the second game, it's... You pronounce it the way you want to. We have figured this out.
I'm processing.
And, from there, the different installments you are able to meet the different characters in the same set world. Something that I want to point out is that you can start in the middle of these if you'd like. They are not sequentially necessary, but some events in the previous series will affect a little bit of the other ones, but not too bad. You have the Arlen series, which is one of the most famous, one of the coolest ones. I know, the Arlen trilogy is really, really great.
Hidari's art on these covers,
Yes.
ludicrous.
It's so, that's not Hidari. Hidari is Dusk.
This is why I'm the color commentary.
But these are one of the bigger ones that people know about. Rorona, Totari, and Merudu are really, really great little games. Rorona is considered the hardest one for a lot of people to play. We'll get into that a little bit later. And these are sequential in a really fun way that Rorona characters will show up in Totari, and Totari characters will show up in Merudu, and they all influence a little bit of each other. Rorona from the first game ends up proving herself really well, if you play the game and you do a good job, as an alchemist, and she ends up being able to teach Totari some alchemy, which she then uses for her journey. It's really, really fun.
And these have been ported up and down. These are
Yes.
everywhere.
Yeah, we make sure to include, what consoles and stuff these are on if you're interested in those. We also have the Dusk trilogy, which is my favorite. Yes! The Dusk trilogy is my absolute favorite. The art is so incredible. The way they translate the designs into the 3D models is so much fun. These feature, this is Atelier Aisha, Eska and Lagi, and Shali. These it's very interesting because these games actually take place in a world that seems to be dying. It's not necessarily the focus per se on a lot of what's going on, but it does color the experiences for some of the characters. There's a lot of, moments where you run into ruins of ancient civilizations and you see what's been long gone and you wonder, can my alchemy help with this? Can my alchemy heal things? So because of that, more introspective nature with the Dusk trilogy, I really, really love these ones.
And Eska and Lagi being two core protagonists kind of rules, actually.
Yeah.
Not the least of which because I love a good silver-haired boy. Hey. But honestly, the balance between the two of them and the way their personalities bounce off of each other kind of rules.
It's really, really fun. Same with the Shallies. It's really, really cute to see the dual protagonists interact with one another. And then we have the Mysterious trilogy, which is also lovely. Again, all of these games are bangers. So
Sophie's so cute.
Sophie's the cutest. And like we said with the last couple of trilogies, these are a little bit sequential, not too much that you can't pick up one over the other. So if there's a protagonist that appeals to you, or if there's an art design that appeals to you a little bit, you can start with these. But Sophie is trying to to help a talking book recover their memories, and that talking book ends up becoming the coolest person ever. It's really, really fun. Furious takes place in a slight open world, which is a big one for the franchise, one of the first, and she's trying to pass an exam to prove, again, herself. It's a lot of that interpersonal, self-growth. And then Liddy and Suel are people who are able to explore different worlds through paintings, so a lot of the art design in that game can be really cool.
And open worlds have started to trickle into the design more and more and more since. Obviously, we'll talk about the newest one that's going to be coming out in a bit. But it's interesting to see that drop in and slowly expand in the DNA larger and larger and larger.
And then for our last trilogy, we have The Alchemists of Secret. So I know, I love Ryza very much. You might have noticed that in the other ones we said The Alchemists. This is one of the first trilogies that features a singular protagonist throughout the trilogy. So these feature Ryza's journey in her growth into becoming a protagonist and also into becoming an alchemist. In her world, alchemy isn't really a thing, and there's only like 2 people who really know what it is, and she's kind of trying to make it, you know, part of her life, mostly because she's a big baby and she doesn't want to do chores. So she decides, well, if I can make a magic witch cauldron, then I don't have to do chores no more. And it grows really, really beautifully from that. It's really nice to see how much of she as a person grows. A lot of these protagonists are very, very sweet, but I personally love that Ryza starts as kind of a bit of a baby and becomes like a big sister character. I love her very much.
And this being the secret trilogy, the such an ongoing theme of it is thus, as it is the secret trilogy, discovery. Thematically, Ryza discovers so much about herself. Ryza discovers so much about alchemy, and anytime she makes one of these, she latches onto it with relentless passion. It's really, really, really heartwarming.
As we mentioned, there are a lot of these, more than like 27 of them. So we can't get into all of them. There's some Game Boy games, there's some like, smaller consoles. But we did want to tell you that if you've played some of these games, you actually might have played an Atelier game.
I love MAGFest.
So Mana Khemia, if you played that back in the PSP, that is part of the Atelier series. It's one of the spin-off games. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's main series. All right, you guys should be up here.
That's so sick.
Atelier Lilua is one of the first to be fourth in an installment in one of the trilogies. I put her on here because I love her very deeply, but also because for some people that was like their one-off. They didn't really know what was going on, and they were like, what is this? And then they found out the journey through those games. There's also Atelier Online. Right? So if you ever wanted to try out some like MMO style, they have like, very small games. There was an Otome game at one point. It was never localized, and I cry to this day for never being able to play it, but it looks really cute and really sweet. We have my favorite of the spin-off games, which is Nelki and the Legend. Yes! This is a really fun town building game, actually, where you hire the alchemists of the other series, and it's really, really nice.
I love a good enterprising Ojo-san with a big hat.
Yes, it's very good. And we also have Atelier Sophie, which was one of the first ones to have a direct number sequel, which was really exciting. I really, really love that they have that, and they're continuing these characters' stories. And if you're the kind of person who likes mobile games, you should try out Atelier Resliana. It's so cute, and the art style and aesthetics are very good.
Absolutely.
Please be careful, because gacha games are evil, and I'm evil, and I play a lot of them. We'll get a little bit into that. And I think what I want to express here is that all of these have beautiful little vibes, beautiful, artistic styles. If you can hear the music playing right now, that music is actually from the soundtracks of these games. I'm sorry? I said I couldn't get into all of them. I'm sorry. And each of the different trilogy sets, or the different sets of the Atelier games, feature different character artists, different design artists. Notable ones are like Noko and Hidari, who maybe you might know from, Hatsune Miku designs or Fire Emblem. The soundtracks are made up of beautiful, sweet melodies and instruments and wind instruments, a lot of Celtic stylings. It's very fun because the visual design of each set is different, but the musical design of each set is very similar, so you still have that nostalgic and cozy feel because the soundtracks are composed by very similar individuals who take place in putting things together.
And then when they dip out from some of those core Celtic stylings a little bit, it's with such beautiful intention. Ryza 1's soundtrack especially can only be described as summery. It's so lovely. The acoustic guitar in the core battle theme is like one of my favorite little riffy, peppy acoustic guitars I've heard in some time.
Like we said, we're being very soft and gentle. It is MAGFest Sunday, so we're not playing any of the incredible battle themes right now, but I do include some banger tracks that you should absolutely listen to, like Fulcrum from Atelier Eska and Lagi. Look inside yourself. You are more than what you have become from Ryza. It is one of my favorite tracks in the entire series. Disruption from Atelier's Sophie 2 goes off so hard. It's like this is published by Tecmo Koei, so I feel like the Dynasty Warriors guys like showed up at the booth for that song. It's so much fun. That being said, there's probably a couple of folks in here who maybe wanted to dip their toes in, or maybe have, but they're not really sure what to get going with. But I think it's critical that we get into, what games can you play? What of these can you enjoy? And there's so many different ones, and you wouldn't have literally any problem at all getting started with which one of these characters looks the coolest to you or the cutest to you.
They're actually a bundle of perfectly valid jumping on points with this franchise.
But I wanted to give a couple of ones that we recommend if you are interested in trying the series. So let's get crafting, shall we? The first one that we would recommend if you want to start right away is Atelier Marie. This is the first game in the series. It recently got a remake and it's very cute. It still holds that like beautiful 90s design, those beautiful little chibi art styles. You can play it legally because, there's some folks who do, translate things and that's really fun. Or you can also enjoy this version, which allows you to have the traditional time management system of the game, or you can turn that off entirely. So you can decide, what you would feel more comfortable with.
I'm obsessed with her big swoopy 90s bang. I'm sorry.
I know, it's so good.
It's so good.
But if you want to get started on some of the ones that you found a little bit interesting, maybe you heard the crowd cheer for a couple of these, we would say that you could take it a little bit easy with Atelier Riza or Atelier Sophie. These have little to no time management. This is much breezier, much cozier, It has a little bit of a simplified crafting style in Riza 1 that you can take place, and it works really well with the mechanics, as Riza herself doesn't really know that much about alchemy. Sophie is very, very peppy and fun, so it allows that kind of breeziness to go through with her. However, if you're looking for something a little bit harder, like I said, if you're someone who works better on some deadlines and you want to take in, we also recommend the Dusk Trilogy. Atelier Aisha and Eska and Lagi are complicated, and they do have deadlines that you do have to meet because of these different kinds of context of the main story, but it's not too bad. It's a little bit harder in Aisha. Eska and Lagi is a little bit leaner, but if you are somebody who wants that kind of to see if you're more comfortable with the deadline system, these are the games I recommend. However, if you're a try-hard, if you're someone who wants to completely go in, just guns blazing, fully dive in the pool, really, really, really think that Atelier Rorana would be really, really fun. It is more complicated. The crafting system is a little bit more robust. The time management system is at its hardest. If you do not complete requests that are required, you will get a game over. It just won't move forward. This is really, really great if you're the kind of person who only works on deadlines. Yeah.
She's so relentlessly cute. You positioning her under a Wolfenstein reference is screwing me up a little bit.
It's what she deserves.
I want to be clear. I know I've talked Call of Duty and Counter-Strike in here. The Wolfenstein jokes were her jokes.
But let's say that you don't like games. Maybe you're brought here by your friends and you don't really play video games. You like the music part of the Music and Games Fest. There are some anime that you can watch. Atelier Riza and Eska and Lagi both got anime adaptations. They're very sweet. They're very cute. Some of them lean a little bit more fan servicey, if that's your flavor. So if you just want to experience the story and see the wholesome events, you can just try the anime.
Not too mechanically complicated.
You can also try one of the spin-off games. I really, really like some of the ways that they have taken the Atelier franchise to these spin-offs. Nelke and the Legendary Alchemists is absolutely beautiful. If you're somebody who likes town building, if you like, managing different folks and different businesses and putting together your beautiful little town and making sure that the shop is exactly where you want it to be on Main Street and that the blacksmith is exactly where you want it, Nelke's really, really nice for that.
And Nelke bringing together so many different alchemists across the series into a single game is such a beautiful little fanfic of a game. It's so
really,
great.
really nice.
It's really nice.
It's a complete and utter Avengers Endgame, they're all really here situation. Very, very Smash Brothers of the Atelier series. Same thing with Atelier Resliana. Like we mentioned, that is the mobile game that came out recently. Yes, forgot to put that in there. It is on PC as well. This also features a lot of the protagonists of the other games, so you can get to know them a little bit more that way. It is a gacha game. No, it is not friendly. Pity system's really bad. Drop rates are really bad, but they're so stinking cute, you guys. All the outfits are so good, and they all look so incredible. And also, Gus heard me talking crap. So, if you are interested in Resliana, but not the gacha system, is that something that you're uncomfortable with, Resliana is getting a single-player offline sequel, which looks very, very fun.
It like
looks,
has a Steam listing up already and everything like that. Like definitely go wishlist it if you're interested.
it looks really, really cute. The characters and the main designs are really, really adorable, and that Resliana has a beautiful like star and night motif that they're bringing into this, so you could try that as well. Or if you'd like, you are, just trying to get in completely fresh. Join in with the Atelier fans in getting hyped as heck for Atelier Yumiya. This looks so freaking cool, you guys.
Good, you guys.
It looks so cool. I obviously can't talk that much about it because it's not out yet, but it features a cool looking open world for exploration. Yumiya herself has these sick Bayonetta heels that she flies around on.
How good does just the grass look in this? It's so pretty.
It has these cool like house building mechanics. It is Fortnite, right?
My Fortnite was Dark Clouds, sir.
Yes. So, if you want to get in completely fresh, you can join us with this. She also has a sick motorcycle, which is so cool.
Every cute girl deserves a good motorcycle.
I'm very, very excited for this. I would love to hear folks' thoughts if they start playing this.
We're weeks away. Join us.
It's coming out in March. I can't wait to see what they do with this one. It does look like it has a little bit more of a serious tone. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it because I don't know. But it looks, things look like they're gonna get like hardcore this time. All right, bubbles with the freaking like.
The battle system looks legit good.
It does. It looks really cool.
Really
Very like character action looking. So those are places that we think you could start the game if you're interested in playing the Atelier franchise. Well, one more thing. Guys, I'm talking to you a lot about gameplay. I've talked to you a lot about, games you can play and things you can do and where you get started. But that's not what we care about. Let's be real. What gamers like is merch. Okay?
You will feast in
what
this
we
franchise.
like and what we want is to have physical items that are adorable and cool that you can show off to other people to show how much you are dedicated and loyal to a specific franchise. And the Atelier series really, really got you on this, you guys. This is a beautiful box of a collector's board game that they had back in the day. There's some of the most adorable figures, if that's your thing. They're so beautifully sculpted.
The texture on the ruffles.
Oh my God, right? If you are into this collection, they have different kinds of vibes if you'd like. A little bit saucier. If you are someone who likes special editions, the collector's editions of these games are so much fun. I am a one-woman marketing team for Gust, and you need to understand that the book that you see, the golden book, is her book that she has where she keeps her recipes.
It's a completely viable cosplay prop.
It is. I've done it. It's wonderful. They almost always come with, exactly, this item is a collector item. They come with soundtracks. They come with art books. Once again, I need to emphasize how cool they have really great digital items too when you play these games. Some of them are free. Some of them come with purchasable.
Far be it for us to hawk DLC, but some legitimately really strong character designs.
Some of the costumes you can also earn in game. You can get really great little swimsuits, which are really, really fun. I want to talk a little bit more about these figures because oh my God, they're so cute.
Friends.
They look like such good friends. They're having a girls' night making bombs. I love them so much. And, if you're the kind of individual who, like me, likes things just a little bit saucier, they have some really fun pinup art for these characters.
They're really gorgeous.
Just incredible art, just incredible lighting, actually genuine study for pinup designs.
Maintain the 90s hair swoop.
They're just really, really cute. These are beautiful posters you can get with some of these. If you like a little bit saucier. However, if you're an individual who maybe you're more inclined to, you like looking at, males and male bodies, they have that for you as well. Don't worry. This is the safest crop I could have of this image for MAGFest, you guys. I promise you. There's a lot more happening here, all right? So, I think it's really, really great how this series is so much fun and also does cater to different kinds of things that you might want. Like, I just love it. I love it so much. And with that, no.
They will not let us go.
With that, thank you all so much for coming. I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Atelier franchise. We have a little bit of time for Q&A if anybody's interested. Again, these are our socials. Please hit me up. Please talk to me about these. If you play these games, if you're getting started on playing these games, even if you just send me a lowercase hi, please do. I made this panel because I am the only person I know who plays these games. I am forcing him to play it. But I need more Atelier friends.
She told me the girls she told me the girls got bombs in these.
Dude, please follow me. Let's chat. Let's be friends. I mean it. Talk to me about these. This is why this panel is here, and so we could all find each other, because I know we have a hard time finding each other. Thank you so much for coming. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. If you don't, please enjoy your beautiful, beautiful rest of your Sunday of MAGFest. Thank you, guys. All right, you had your hand up first.
Hello.
Okay, yes. So, just curious for like the must-play, like first games to play. Like, how long is the average length of the game? Are there any games that are shorter or longer? For those who don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, that's a great question. So my experience on average is that these games are like, they would max out at like 30-ish hours, like 20 to 30. If you're a completionist, maybe it can be 40. The games have some really great like little secret recipes you can unlock if you're the kind of person who likes to like really get in on your secret objectives and get the best items you can get. But main story, like 20 to 30. For Nelky, the spin-off games, like much lower, like 15. You can take your time with it, which is really nice.
The impression I've gotten as a Yakuza fan is that it is kind of similar to those and that it's sort of as sprawling as you want it to be, but you could also mainline it if that's what your goal is.
Yes. We had another question. Yes. Shally. I'm sorry? Oh, Blue Reflection. I love Blue Reflection.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Blue Reflection, yes. So for folks who don't know, Blue Reflection is made by the same developers of the Atelier series, and it's a more traditional like RPG. In that game series, you play as like flat out magical girls, like you get full transformation sequences and stuff, and you are helping heal people's feelings. And when I say that, that's a soft way to say that like you help people's depression and mental illnesses. It's very sweet, but it's also a little tough, and I really, really like it. I think it's very, very fun and an interesting, mature take on a similar thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I think some of the more structural, like quote unquote traditional RPG elements of it were actually really strong and really, really cool.
And again, the soundtracks are bangers.
Oh, the soundtracks are bangers in those.
Right there.
And in a similar vein, any thoughts about the Knights of Azure series?
I actually haven't played those.
yet.
No, that's definitely on my list of things. If you have recommendations on where to start with that, I would love to hear it.
Well, there's only 2 games.
Okay.
I'll start with one.
All right, I'll go with the first one.
Yeah, usually a strong choice.
But they're action RPGs.
Cool.
Almost Muso, like
I love
Oh,
those.
well then.
Yes. That's perfect. Okay, we're right over here. Yes, that is one of the ones we were like, do we count these in here? Do we put these in here? We should put these in here. Really, like back in the day, I haven't like really gone back at all, which makes me sad. I do want to replay them, but as like a little kid, the Art and Lenticle series are really, really fun. I really like those. Yes. Okay, you had a question. Oh, you, go ahead.
question for both of you.
Yes.
Who's your favorite alchemist, and why is it Sophie?
Okay. I like it. Me?
Yeah, go for it.
Lulua. I think her core story it takes a different tack than a number of the other alchemists do, because Lulua is facing both the challenges of ascending as an alchemist, but also ascending to meet her mother's legend. And there's something like a little bit angsty about that, almost, that Lulua like weathers so beautifully. I think it makes her sort of ascent in confidence and in power all the more satisfying.
For me,
Ryza, very close second.
For me, it's Eska. I really appreciate Eska having a lot of insecurities about how she compares to her compatriot Lagi, because Lagi comes from like a more quote unquote pristine, alchemy setting. He's a little bit more quote unquote put together than she is.
He's order to her chaos.
Yeah, and she feels a little bit insecure sometimes, but she never lets that bleed into a dislike for him or herself. It propels her to be, better. It propels her to work harder, and also she's just so sweet that it really inspired me when looking upon like my art forms like cosplay and like drawing. I was like, I gotta stop comparing myself these ways, and I gotta start doing what Eska does and like put things together. And all her outfits are really, really cute. Yes, go ahead.
As someone who started expeditions with Iris,
Yes.
Iris says I played all the way to the recent one. I was always wondering, there was that one Atelier came out. Do you believe the whole world's connected?
I think that's fun.
I think it's fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
Because if you make like an Atelier timeline, I feel like the Dusk Trilogy is probably like at the end or something, or maybe Ryza's at the end, because there's like a lot of stuff with like the ruins in Ryza that could work into it.
Or maybe Yumiya takes after Breath of the Wild in the way that they went, I don't know, it's at the end, don't worry about it.
But I think that could be fun. I don't have like hard evidence one way or the other.
That one, the crossover one you just mentioned. I didn't play that one yet. The one with the house simulation.
Oh, Nelky?
No,
Yeah.
no, Nelky is the multiverse of madness. Of all
Yes,
of
she
these,
like
I think.
summons them from different worlds. So yeah, it's very, very fun. I saw, yes, up there, back there.
What's your favorite moment of surprising darkness from the series?
Ooh, I love that question.
you want to go first, Leah?
I have an answer actually.
Yeah.
I love some of the late game reveals in Ryza 1 because Ryza 1 is so about self-expression, growth, joy, sunshine, but there's a little bit of as much as everybody's maturing, and there's the tough boy in that, Lent. Lent, yeah, he goes through like a legitimately really difficult emotional arc, and it kind of feels like the late game darkness that they discover in Ryza 1 is so emblematic of some of those like difficult emotional hurdles they all need to hit. I really, really like the ending of Ryza 1.
This is a hard question because whenever those hit, they're always like really emotional. There are moments later on in some of these games where things do get a little bit like scarier. I think for me, it was Lulua and how like I don't want to spoil too much for folks who might be interested in playing Lulua, but there's like a reveal at the end of the game, or not at the end, but close to like the third act of the game, where you realize that Lulua like has been kind of fighting against dire straits this whole time, and she didn't know that she was doing that. And there's like how do I say this without spoiling it? She gets help from a version of what she believes to be the ideal alchemist. And it is what propels her throughout the entire journey, and she never realized how much that person could be herself. And the scariness of like that moment that's jarring for her, mixed with her being able to like self-actualize, was really, really great.
And just so we're not exclusively talking up Lulua and Ryza, though we do love both very dearly, honestly, anytime Dusk gets into the state of its world, it's like, it's understated, but it definitely is bleak.
Yeah. Right here?
Hi, so what was your first Atelier game that you found and got into?
It was Eska and Logi. That's probably why it's my favorite. It's so I've always wanted to play them, but like a fellow here said, when I was looking through GameStop, it's just Assassin's Creed everywhere in the A section. And then finally I saw Atelier, Eska, and Logi. And the art style really, really enamored me. The two of them, I think, are fantastic character designs. And I'm a sucker for like slightly more serious dude and cute, soft girls. So like I was like, I need this one. So for me, Eska and Logi was my first.
Mine was Lulua. Mine was Lulua, which meant that I was learning a lot of things about Rona backwards.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
What's your favorite side character and why is it Marion?
Oh, Marion's good. Oh my God, Marion's good. I'm sorry?
That was also my question.
Oh, hey, all right.
My answer was Soul Remnant.
That's really good. Oh my God, Marion's really good. Ooh, this is a hard one.
I once again have a tie. I'm so sorry I have so many ties. One is Stirk. That I like
I
looking
love
at that
Stirk.
boy. I like looking at that boy. or Claudia, because I think she and Riza are very good friends.
And they were roommates.
And they were roommates. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. There's so many good characters in this. I like Linka a lot from the Dusk trilogy. She's great and cool. Windbell is also wonderful. She her growth also is really great. It's so hard to pick because all the characters in this are so good.
Oh my God, I'm blanking. The one with the sick earrings and Eska and Lagi, like super powerful, long hair. I'm blanking because it's Sunday at a convention.
Yes.
She's sick.
I'm sorry to give you a non-answer because I can't really pick one. There's so many of them. We have time for probably 2 more questions. We had somebody back there who had their hands up for a bit.
So you guys have favorite songs, right? But what's your favorite soundtrack?
I will answer that in really quick, which is my favorite soundtrack is again Eska and Lagi.
I think it would be something from Dusk, honestly. There's a sense of expressiveness in those that still finds the joy in the circumstances that's really, really nice.
You fellow with the red hat.
How's the UI and menuing for which game do I play? It's going to annoy me if it's
Ooh.
The menuing is kind of a feature and not a bug in a lot of them.
Yeah. I would say for me, the most frustrating menuing is probably Lulua and Arland because it's a little bit more complex, but it's not like that bad. The easiest is definitely Riza if you're looking for something a little bit chiller, a little bit easier. Sophie's really good. Sophie's menuing is really solid.
Because it's kind of a circumstance where menuing is just the nature of the crafting tree experience.
Yeah.
And it's less a matter of which one is the least and more which one makes it the most satisfying.
Yeah.
And I think especially like Ryza 2 and 3 work really hard for like the new audience that they were intended to pull in, work really hard to make them kind of as clicky and flashy and satisfying as possible.
All right, we have time for I think like 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, we will absolutely hang out to chat with
Yeah,
people
after the
afterwards.
panel, please chat with us out here.
And answer anything we don't have the time for.
Let's do you right here. Yes.
So the only one that I've played so far is Ryza. Is the crafting system in all of them similar or similar-ish, or are they all completely different?
They're not totally different, but they're all different from Ryza.
Okay.
Ryza kind of did, a little bit different in terms of like how you put the items together. Visually, it's very different in Ryza. In the other games, it's a bit more of like a proper menu, whereas Ryza has that kind of like FF10 sphere grid thing going on. So Ryza will definitely prepare you for the other ones, but it is a little bit different again visually.
You will go in being able to speak the language of them from the jump.
Yeah, and then
That's the answer I was looking for.
yeah, and then you back there. Yeah.
Okay, one thing I was curious about, you mentioned how do you guys like the specific manga that is inspired by? It came to mind when you mentioned Eska and Lagi, how, the dynamic, like, nice cute girl,
Mhm.
it might be blonde, kind of like a classic shoujo manga trope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't been able to pull research on what specific manga inspired the development, just as a general, era of shoujo manga and magical girls. From what I could tell, it was very much like classic, like Sally the Witch, Creamy Mommy, things like that. And unfortunately, I don't have like very specific like this shoujo manga, but I did pull up that Anne of Green Gables was a huge inspiration,
Yeah.
which is why like that cottagecore aesthetic really came in. Yeah, I'll see. Hit me up if you do find something, and I'll hit you up if I find something. Okay, we got one more.
I think we
We're at
we have seconds.
We have seconds for one more. Go.
Who do you think is most fan service Atelier?
I mean, it's
Ryza.
I mean,
I say that with love. Arlen's not. Yeah, it's either Ryza or the Arlen
It's
trilogy.
just like it's interesting that Ryza tones it way down with each successive installment, but Ryza 1 is.
Well, I would argue against that because Ryza 2 was like, here's some wet physics, baby.
I guess that's.
Don't forget the crawling into.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to say, but definitely Ryza, that was something they were trying to do for this, which is why in like Yumiya. A little bit. It sold about as well as Sophie did, which is great because Sophie sold really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. It was this franchise wasn't like dying, but it did like have an uptake, which was really needed.
Yeah, it had a big boost.
And with that, we are all set. This is the time of our panel. Thank you so much. We will be out there chatting after we wrap up. Thank you so much for coming. I do genuinely mean it. Please talk to me about this series.
And we hope you had a lovely MAGFest.
Travel safe and take care, everyone.